Hi, Beatrice. You look
Hi,
lovely this
thank
evening.
you,
Are you
thank
going to
you.
sing for us this evening?
Yes,
All right.
I
As
will.
always, it's good to have you here. Thank you so much for making out the time to be a speaker with us on this year's conference. We're really glad to have you.
You're
So as always, it goes back to the beginning. Let's go back to the very beginning. What has been your journey like to this point and defining moments of how it has shaped you? Take us away, Beatrice.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. When I first heard that we are going to have this conference and the theme is, a journey to the top, my journey is such one with trauma, losing yourself, finding yourself, pain, suffering, but then you embark on your healing journey and your self-discovery and finding yourself. So as a child, I had three dreams when I was a little girl. I wanted to be a public speaker, I wanted to go to school, and I also wanted to be a musician. That was my dream. And nothing was going to shake that dream. Sometimes when we have those dreams, we think that the world will give us everything that we need. But then what happens when the world gave you no option? So I was kicked out of my father's house and I found myself on the streets. I was homeless. I was sleeping in church. I was sleeping on the street corners. I had no defining destination of where I was going. And so 26 years ago was when I met my ex-husband. So, me being homeless and having no one, I suffered neglect. And so I thought getting married by then was the best choice. I don't believe in failure. Failure is an illusion. I believe we make choices at some point in our lives. At the times we make those choices based on our evolution and growth at those moments are the best choices. But then later you may realize that I should have done it differently. So I got married 26 years ago. In my mind, I thought when I got married, all my dreams will come to pass. I will achieve all my dreams, being a musician, being a public speaker, and I will go to school. That was what I had in my head. So I got married, and then immediately I got married, I got pregnant with my first child. So when I got pregnant, I said, okay, let me have my first child and then I'll go to school, I'll be a public speaker. Because I had dropped out of school when they kicked me out of my father's house. I dropped out of school. And so I gave birth to my first child less than 2 months and I got pregnant again. And at that moment was the moment of anger, me losing myself, resentment, frustration. My ex-husband was a pastor, a full-time pastor. And in that part of the world, you know what it means when people say they are full-time pastors. I knew I have set myself up for the biggest disappointment and I have to brace up. When I realized I was pregnant and I had a baby of like 2 months old, I was so angry. I lost myself completely. In that very moment, I was not happy. I was angry at everyone. I was angry at my ex-husband, angry with myself, angry with everybody, angry with everybody. I did not go to any hospital throughout that period. I was so frustrated. We could not afford even a place to stay. We were helped by friends until the time came for me to deliver my child. But I was determined because I was very young. I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know what to do. And so when the time came for me to deliver my second boy, I went into the bedroom for you to know how numb I was to pain because I knew I had set myself up for disappointment. And so I went into the bedroom, drew the sheet, and delivered my child. And then my ex-husband was saying, are you okay? So when he went to call a nurse, I could remember when the nurse came, the nurse said, no, this girl, something is wrong with this girl. I wasn't saying anything. I was so loaded with anger that I don't talk. I just stay quiet. And so immediately I delivered my second child. I stood up like the determined woman that I was and I am today. I stood up and took a bucket of water and poured on my head, and I was ready for the journey because now I had two kids. I had to take care of myself. I had to take care of my boys. And so I started working for people, started going, doing voluntary jobs. I go with my boys. I had no one except my ex-husband with my boys. I was so young that people would ask me if I used to tell people that, ah, they are my sons. And they would say, ah, how come you are this young and you have two babies? Are they twins? And then when you said no, people will still judge you. How come you have two babies like this? And you are emaciated. Even you need to be taken care of. So I start telling people lies that, oh, they are not my kids. I'm just the nanny. I'm taking care of them. Their mom has gone to work. I lost myself completely. And so 9 years after, I went into coma for 4 days and they gave me up that I was dead. That was the time and the beginning of my first awakening. I always had my dream. I did not lose my dream. It was there, but how was I going to achieve them? I don't know, but I know I was going to achieve them. And so when I came, I was in that coma 3 to 4 days. People were saying a lot of things. People were angry at my husband. A lot of people were saying a lot of things. I know how to sing. I was singing in church. But at that very moment when I came out of that coma, I was determined to chase my dreams. My boys had gone to secondary school by then. And then after I came back from the coma, I recovered. I went to the studio immediately and did my first gospel album. And I became a household name. I became the Princess of Praise, known everywhere. I was in every billboard. I was everywhere, all over, across the nations. My name is everywhere. So I became popular. But then I still did not lose sight of my dream of becoming a public speaker and to go back to school. By then it was over 10, 15 years. I've left school. I don't even know what that was all about. But I knew I was going back to school. So when I became that popular, I said, no, I don't need to lose myself in this popularity. I still need to pursue my dreams. And then I enrolled to go to school. I wore uniform and then took my WAEC and went to the university. I got business administration. I did human resource management. I never stopped learning. I had a postgraduate in supply chain. I'm still doing masters in public administration. I never stopped learning. So it was such a journey of pain, trauma, but then I got my healing. 17 years after, I got divorced. But then I never told anyone. I went through that divorce and said nothing to anyone. 4 years later was when I told my boys, my sons. By then, my ex-husband relocated to the US. I was with my boys. And if you know, when you have boys, they will bring more boys for you. So that's how I know I am known as the mother of the boys. I gave birth biologically to two boys, but I had 9 boys. So my house was filled with boys. And also just because of what I went through, being homeless, I know what that feels like. I never shut my door on anyone that needed a place to stay. I fought for my boys. And then when told my boys 4 years later that have been divorced, I did not say anything to anyone because people have put you on a pedestal. My old ex-husband was a pastor and they expect you to be this perfect person. Imagine I was going to places, I was everywhere singing. People see me as this bubbling person, that I have a perfect life. You know what it is in this side of the world when they feel, when they tag you as a celebrity, they feel like everything is working out for you. You are okay. So I never talk about what I was going through, but I was going through pain. So after my divorce, 4 years after, I realized that the life I had was the life with my ex-husband because I was very young when I go into that relationship, and that was 26 years ago. So I had no life. I had to start from the beginning, because my career as a musician was managed by my ex-husband. But I was determined to live my dreams. I don't believe in failure. It doesn't exist. It's an illusion. And I believe we can make different choices. I have no regrets of my life. So I took my journey, I embarked on a self-discovery journey because I realized the only identity I had was that of my ex-husband. So I have to find myself. I have to heal from that anger, resentment, and all the frustration and trauma that I have gone through. My story and my journey is predictably similar to that which a lot of people go through today, having no one, having no support system. But yet, healing is possible, and you can be all that you want to be if you don't lose sight of your dreams. And so I fought day and night to pursue my dreams. And then I went on a healing journey to heal from all that trauma, to find myself, to find my voice. So I hid myself. I wasn't going anywhere. They would invite me for programs, I don't go. They would invite me to come and sing, I don't go. I am back, I go to school, I talk, teach on motivational session. I go to school and request for 10, 15 minutes of devotion to talk to young girls that you can still live your dreams. You can still be all that you want to be. So I started a motivational session. I was sharing my story. And my story came into existence in 2019 in what I call story, as you can see in the logo. It's called Sanctuary for Talented, Optimistic, and Resilient Young Girls. A lot of people might share their story and tell you about their support system, but there are others who do not have support system. But what would you do when you find yourself in a crossroad? One thing I tell myself, no one owe you anything, but you owe yourself everything. I forgave myself. I embraced the choices I made. I am happy with those choices. I took accountability for every stage of my life. I learned to love myself and have compassion on myself. In my healing journey, I do yoga for my physical well-being. I do meditation for my mental well-being. I do journaling for my psychological well-being. I was intentional. I am intentional. I teach consciousness, which derive from a space of awareness, self-aware. Regardless of all the choices you've made in life, they were necessary for your evolution. I have no regrets, and this is where I am today, proud of myself.
Amazing. Th- Beatrice, what a story. This has been absolutely phenomenal. And the comment section has been live. Self-awareness is key. There are people who don't have support systems, but what will you do? Be determined, know what you're about. Do not ever give up on your dreams. All the choices that you made were necessary for your evolution. This is quite a story. And thank you so much for being so vulnerable and sharing. If you have questions, please put them in the chat box. We are wrapping up, but I have a question here. You know, beyond everything that you have accomplished, this journey of consciousness, self-awareness, healing. I really liked when you said that healing was necessary. You know, um, what drives you? Now that you have your dream of public speaking, you have gone to school, what is the thing that still keeps you showing up every day? What drives you?
I do not have the luxury of quitting
Oh,
and have all those boys looking up to me. Like I said, I have 9 boys living in my house who have lived with me So my boys keep telling me, aren't you going to stop learning? I keep going for programs. I keep going for programs. What are you doing with book? I said, I want to raise the bar so high that you have no choice but to be your best self.
Mhm.
And so my last child graduated last year. There are three things when you are in my house. One, you will embrace, discover your talent. I help you discover your talent, and you should activate your talent and work on it. You should be educated. You have no choice. So life did not offer me the luxury of quitting. And so I never, no matter what happened, I will feel discouraged. I will feel sad. I will feel frustrated. I'll feel vulnerable, feel like giving, those feeling comes. But then when I look back and said, what do? I don't have a choice. I just have to keep going. I just have to keep running. And there are lots of girls and women that look up to me that have impacted over the years. I redefined my story. I rewrote my script. And I
Mm.
always say to myself, I rewrote my script and then stop living my life for others. And then I decide what to do with my life, when I want to do it, and have compassion on myself. So I rewrote my journey and set my own personal boundaries, not
Fantastic.
expecting anyone. I give time to myself. I invest in myself, my mental well-being, my physical well-being, my emotional well-being. And so I consciously took steps to heal and live
Mm.
this life that I was born to live.
Awesome, awesome, amazing, amazing. Speaking about, you've talked about, your emotional well-being, your physical well-being, and you have such resilience and determination. But how are you able to manage your boys' emotions when they learned about the divorce? How did they take it when you broke the news to them? Because you took quite a while to break that news to them. How did they take it, and how did you manage their emotions?
Yeah, so I intentionally waited for my boys to be 18. For some reason, I was patient enough to wait for them. I was, because within myself, I was going through all of these emotions of this divorce process. So I did not want to let my boys, because I've suffered neglect and I have
Mm-hmm.
had parents in my life for the longest of time. I wanted to be that support system, and I know the impact that had on me. So I did not
Mm.
want my boys to have a repeat of that cycle, because one of the things I fight against when I teach consciousness is to break cycle patterns and behaviors. So I try for every pattern, cycle, and behavior deliberately to end with me. So I let my boys reach the age of 18, the both of them, and then we had the conversation. And I
Mm.
told them about the divorce. They thought, oh, maybe we are going to come back together, maybe. Then I said, no, because the person that your dad married 18 years ago is not the same person. He got married to a child. Now I am a woman. There are a lot of things. I used to say yes to everything, but now I can't say yes to everything. So I'm a different person. So we will not be in alignment. There are a lot of things that have changed over the course of time. And so my boys, they were very supportive. In fact, they are very, very supportive. I raise them in such a way they are mentally strong. I raise them in self-awareness. They are very empowered. They can advise ageable people. They can tell you about relationship. So we have this conversation, and they are the people that they were my friends. They were my go-to people. They are always there, because when I go to work, I come back, I will meet them. They know my frustration. When I when I am angry, when I used to be angry person, it will be on my boys. So they've seen the good, the bad, the ugly side of me. So I would tell them things we discuss. So we had that conversation, and they were happy. They were very supportive, and they would ask me, are you okay? Every day we talk about things. They said, you deserve to be happy. You are the strongest woman we know. You are
Oh,
a role model, and we want you to be happy. And even when I'm worried at home, I need to cook for my boys. I don't want them to struggle for what they will eat. They will say, no, 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 you don't need to cook. You don't need to do anything for us. Let us take care of you now. So
oh,
that's the thing. So they are very, very much. One of my son is in the US, and the other one, he's here with me. He graduated last year. All my sons are now in the university. I have 9 boys. They are all in the university. They are all pursuing their gifts. I have studio engineer. I have a musician. I have a videographer, photographer, different kind of skills and talents in my house. So we do everything in
oh.
our house. Yeah. So
Awesome, awesome. Wow, thank you so much. Beatrice, your story is inspiring. You're such a fighter. This has been one of the best conferences I have attended, and it's virtual. Thank you so much. Before you leave us, speak a word, in just a minute, as you go. And if there are questions in the comment section, please oblige us by answering them in the comment section. But speak a word over somebody that, doesn't have support, has lost the ability to dream because of life challenges.
I'll still say, like, a quote I love in The Warrior Princess, Zina. I always say I'm a warrior princess. So Zina said to conquer yourself is to know the way. To conquer others is to have power. No one owe you anything. You owe yourself everything. Be unapologetically authentic. I am known as the badass babe because I don't say no. I don't say no. I go for what I want. I face my
Yeah.
fears, eat my cake and still have it.
Oh,
It
wow.
yeah.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much. Thank you. Please, a round of applause for Beatrice. What a night.